Let's start with the Sussexes' feud with the Beckhams. According to Lady C, and I know she has a lot of fans amongst royal watchers, it was David and Victoria Beckham who cut ties with the Sussexes, not the other way around.
Reports suggest Prince Harry is privately enraged following developments at the Invictus Games, his most cherished project and last remaining claim to international respect, has apparently decided to remove him as a main representative for their 2026 competition. Instead, they selected global football legend David Beckham to take his place. This decision cuts deeper than simple disrespect for Harry. Beckham represents everything Harry no longer is. A world-famous sports hero. A respected charity supporter. A discreet supporter of the monarchy. By choosing Beckham, the Invictus Games organization isn't just replacing Harry. They're effectively removing what little royal status he had left. This symbolic passing of the torch marks a devastating professional and personal blow for the prince.
The Beckhams basically said, well, why waste our time with these people? They just are incapable of getting along with anybody. Are they incapable of not playing the victim?
After seeing his public standing weaken, personal connections deteriorate, and professional partnerships fail over several years, losing control of the Invictus Games feels like watching the final foundation of his carefully built public image collapse. For the first time, Harry has no one to hold responsible but himself. The reality is undeniable. David Beckham is an international sensation, a retired soccer legend who...
I'm so glad that Lady C made this point, Rita. And also, I don't know if you've heard Tom Bauer discuss how David Beckham showed up to support Prince Harry at Invictus. And he was overheard saying, when do I get to see Harry? Can I see Harry?
Beckham represents everything the organization now values. A recognized philanthropist. A style trendsetter. A devoted father. And now, the fresh face of Invictus. While Harry relies on past achievements, Beckham continues earning new praise with each outing. His appeal crosses political divides, social boundaries, generational gaps. He's that rare public figure who maintained consistent approval from all groups. For the Invictus leadership, this universal acceptance has become absolutely essential. Faced with a choice between a fading prince and...
Reports that Meghan Markle put the kibosh on David getting any photos with Prince Harry at Invictus because she felt like David and Victoria would outshine her in some way, so she wanted to make sure that they weren't photographed together and didn't allow Harry.
The decision was obvious when presented with two options, a controversial royal versus a widely admired celebrity. Beckham represents reliability, while Harry brings constant controversy. Beckham strengthens the organization's reputation, whereas Harry associates it with unnecessary conflicts. The difference between them couldn't be more embarrassing for the prince. Insiders claim Invictus Games officials have become increasingly frustrated with how Harry's personal life dominates public discussion. An event originally created to honor military veterans has gradually become more known for royal gossip and personal scandals in its noble purpose.
Conversation, and she stops because she's startled that somebody has grabbed her and is relocating her, and it's Meghan just taking it upon herself to adjust this woman for a photo. I have to tell you that so far is my favorite video from Invictus.
It is incredible. She made a little speech, of course, which we're hoping to...
While there's no direct evidence linking Meghan Markle to Jeffrey Epstein, certain connections raise troubling questions. Many individuals associated with Epstein's inner circle, people who visited his private island, also move in the same elite social circles Meghan frequented before marrying into royalty. These connections include appearing at identical high-profile events, being photographed on the same luxury yachts, moving through the same exclusive social networks. Notably, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate who moved within wealthy social circles, regularly attended the same functions as Meghan. Though Meghan supporters argue...
So embedded with this amazing Invictus Games thing that he had invented, that, he loved it more than anything else, and that she said, the great thing is that we're all part of one big family. You're my family and you're his family. And all I could think of was, well, she's obviously trying to say that he doesn't have a family, because they're all horrible racists, they all live in England.
While some may dismiss these connections as random chance, the repeated association suggests something more concerning. These weren't accidental encounters at large public events. They were carefully cultivated relationships within small, powerful social groups. Meghan didn't accidentally find herself in these exclusive circles. She deliberately worked her way into them. Now, she appears to be desperately trying to distance herself from these past connections. A former close friend from Meghan's Hollywood days, someone who lived with her, attended casting calls together, and shared career aspirations, has recently spoken out with startling revelations. This insider claims,
You talk to no one from your family, so I better just bask in the glow of your temporary,
Yes.
kindness.
There is that problem. My other favourite story of the weekend was the Spotify one, where it turns out that the people who worked at Spotify had more nicknames for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex than anybody ever knew, including Ginge and Whinge.
According to the insider, Meghan's rise to fame wasn't accidental or earned through talent alone. It was carefully planned. She always played the long game, the source revealed. If someone had industry connections, wealth, or power, Meghan would strategically insert herself into their world. The former friend shared specific examples of Meghan's tactics. Are actively seeking invites to exclusive parties, volunteering for event planning to meet important people, are using any opportunity to network with influential figures. She didn't care about building real friendships, the source explained. Every interaction was about advancing her position. This calculated social climbing apparently began in settings that now raise serious questions. Luxury yachts and elite beach gathering connected to controversial individuals.
And they called her Eva, named after, I think, one of the, was it Joan Crawford, from the 1990 camp classic Queen Bee.
Yeah, I mean, those are actually pretty tame compared to what I hear on the streets of Los Angeles. So I think that they should encourage those versus what people say about them.
As Meghan reinvented herself as a royal, she systematically erased nearly all digital evidence of a previous life. Social media profiles vanished. Personal blog entries were removed. Pictures showing luxurious vacations on yachts and tropical beaches were quietly deleted. However, online information never truly disappears. Internet researchers have uncovered location data from old posts, hidden digital markers in photos, or vacation pictures from questionable places. These recovered records show visits to Monte Carlo, Saint-Tropez, Italy's Amalfi Coast, all during the peak years when Epstein's associates were most visible in Europe. The sudden disappearance of these images raises serious questions. What was Meghan trying to hide by removing them?
Or of the fire damage and devastation. So,
and the Billie Eilish business, right?
Oh my gosh! Whenever I do a good deed, I like to name drop 30,000 people that don't even like the post or acknowledge that I'm giving them a shout out.
Absolutely right. And also,
following her engagement announcement to Prince Harry, Meghan has never publicly explained these controversial trips. This silence raises obvious questions. If these were innocent vacations, why go to such lengths to erase them from public view? Insiders within royal circles have disclosed that. Private investigators uncovered Meghan's past connections during pre-engagement vetting. Palace officials became aware of her questionable social history. Concerns were raised but ultimately ignored. We noticed warning signs, admitted one senior palace staff member. But leadership ordered us to avoid causing trouble. Fearing another public relations disaster after Harry's previous failed relationships, the royal family chose to overlook these concerns rather than confront them.
Which was classic Trump. He apparently decided in his speech to say that basically he didn't think there was much moral leadership in the world, which everybody thought was a bit of a swipe at Trump. But a pretty rich of old Prince Harry, a man that used to parade around.
The royal family's decision wasn't about safeguarding their image. It was about shielding Harry from further emotional pain. Now the institution finds itself caught in the middle of Meghan's unfolding controversy, despite having early warnings they deliberately overlooked. As more troubling details emerge, their choice to remain silent may eventually appear as, a failure to their royal duties, or a deception against the British people. What's increasingly obvious is that Meghan's public character, the humanitarian, the women's rights advocate, the supposed target of unfair treatment, represents just a visible part of a much more carefully constructed plan. The reality, long hidden beneath luxury boats and exclusive party invitations, is finally being exposed. For the first time in her carefully managed career, Meghan can't dictate how the world sees her. With evidence mounting daily, the flawless persona Meghan spent years building is showing dangerous fractures. The latest disclosures may prove the most damaging of all, threatening to completely shatter the illusion she's worked so hard to maintain. 3 undeniable facts have emerged. Meghan's close connections to people tied to Epstein, her extreme attempts to delete evidence of her past and current frantic efforts to redirect public focus. These strategies are failing. The harm to her reputation is severe and spreading quickly. Recently, Meghan has dramatically increased her media appearances, but not in the way she likely hoped. She's suddenly visible in carefully staged home life stories, or emotional interviews about parenting, charity project about well-being. Public relations experts recognize this as emergency reputation management. A veteran Hollywood crisis manager explained, "This is textbook distraction. When trouble comes, you try to cover it with happy, meaningless stories. But people aren't fooled anymore. These superficial pieces can't hide the truth. The public is demanding genuine explanations. No amount of feel-good content can distract from the troubling reality of Meghan's past associations and her current denials. This situation isn't about judging someone for their history, but rather exposing deliberate dishonesty, careful attempt to hide the truth, systematic efforts to reinvent her personal story. Journalists and royal observers are increasingly critical of Meghan, not because she attended lavish parties years ago, but because she denied these connections, threatened those who spoke up, used her background to manipulate public opinion. She didn't simply conceal her past, one analyst observed. She completely reinvented it, then attacked anyone who challenged her version. This isn't female empowerment, it's calculated image control. What once appeared as progressive feminism now looks increasingly like a carefully constructed false narrative. The woman celebrated as a groundbreaking royal is now being accused of the very deception she claimed to oppose. There's growing criticism about how someone can present themselves as a defender of women's rights while reportedly advancing their early career through connections with influential men, many from questionable power structures. Detractors suggest Meghan's version of feminism doesn't challenge unfair systems, but rather uses them for personal gain before denying any involvement. Her current refusal to address connections to Epstein-linked individuals contrasts sharply with her loud criticism of others. As one commentator noted, if you profit from broken systems, then later portray yourself as their target, that's not courage, that's dishonesty. While Meghan faces no formal legal action, no charges, lawsuits, or court orders, public perception is changing significantly. Simply knowing controversial figures isn't illegal. However, deliberately concealing these relationships, denying them, and rewriting history represents an ethical breach. For someone who built their reputation on honesty, realness, and female solidarity, these contradictions matter deeply. The issue isn't her past associations themselves, but her apparent efforts to erase them while constructing completely different personal narrative. The public's frustration isn't about Meghan's past itself, but about how she's tried to alter that story. The clearest sign of trouble comes from her closest supporters pulling away. Netflix executives, unhappy with her project's weak results, are reportedly having second thoughts about future collaborations. Her upcoming cooking program has been quietly put on hold. Oprah Winfrey, previously her most vocal champion, has stayed completely quiet as the scandal grows. Insiders reveal Oprah's team is carefully reviewing future projects with Meghan, not from personal dislike, but to protect their professional reputation. When both America's most influential talk show hosts and the world's top streaming service start distancing themselves simultaneously, this signals more than bad luck. It reveals a serious problem. Meghan's story has taken an unexpected turn. Her impressive career transformation is coming undone. Her attempts to manage public perception have failed. These failures have revealed an uncomfortable reality. Key truths have emerged. Genuine character can't be manufactured, and hidden histories eventually become known. As supporters disappear and her stories lose credibility, everyone is asking the same unavoidable question. Who is a real Meghan Markle?